everyone. Welcome to episode 97 of the Arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel, and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. Today, it is Saturday, December 7th, and I have a couple of finished objects to show you. I have a lot of, not that many. I think I have 3 works in progress to talk about, so a little less than I usually work on throughout the week, but I've made some dedicated progress on those. And I also want to share with you my fiber advent that I have been opening since the 1st of December. So I have 7 little fiber bundles that I want to just share with you all. I have been posting them on my Instagram. I try to do them every day, like on the day, but sometimes I just can't do it, and so I've been just trying to like stack those on some of the days that I've missed. But I have been putting the pictures on my Instagram stories, and I also am trying to put them on like the saved stories like on Instagram. So if you've missed them, you can still see them on like if you go to my profile, there's like the saved stories. So I do try to keep pictures of those there. I will at the end take a picture of all of it together because I am not spinning it until I open everything, so I will be able to see all of them together at the end. So yeah, I think that's what I have today. I think the content might be a little light for this episode, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. Okay, let's start with what I'm wearing today. This is the Avenue Vest by Tori. This was a test knit, and the test knit is almost done. I have submitted my notes, and so I'm feeling really good about that. I really just needed to get my notes in, and because that's the whole point of the test knit, and so now I am completely done. Actually, no, I'm not completely done. I need to take final object pictures of this, and I'm hoping to do that this weekend. Yeah, I need to do that before the release date. So I think it's going to come out soon-ish. So yeah, so we'll see. It might be in the month of December. I know the test deadline is in December. I think it might be like December 12th. But I don't know how soon after that she releases the pattern. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Again, it's by Tori. The yarn I use for this is J'adore Fibers Naturally Soft Sock, which is a fingering weight yarn that I held double in the colorway Grapefruit. And then I also paired it with Explorer Knits Suri in the colorway Grapefruit. So both colorways called Grapefruit, just two different brands, and I think it came out really nice. Have been on the hunt for like the perfect v-neck vest, and I think that this might be the one. And okay, sizing before I like stand up and show you how it looks. I made size 1. I made the v-neck version, as you can tell, and then I used US 8 needles or 5mm needles to knit this. And final measurements, I got about 35 inches in circumference. That gives me 5 inches of positive ease. I am 1 inch bigger than the pattern, so my gauge was a little big, like a smidge bigger than the pattern, and so I am a smidge bigger circumference-wise. However, my row gauge was really small compared to the gauge in the pattern. And I have noted this for Tori in my test notes, and yeah, it was just interesting because, well, anyway, it all, honestly, like, even though the gauge when I measured in different parts of this, once, you know, it was finished and blocked and dried and all of that, my stitch gauge in some places was on, in some places a little big, and then my row gauge was always quite small, like I want to say like 3 stitches more that fit into the 4 inches than what the pattern stated. However, when I took final measurements of some of these areas, I was expecting it to be a lot more off from the pattern, like schematic, but it really wasn't too much off. And so maybe it was just the parts that I took the measurements of, but anyway, I do like the fit of this. I do have some notes that I want to talk about once I stand up and show you the fit. Okay, let me stand up, move back my chair. So this is the pattern. I did not make any modifications to this. I followed it 2 pattern, I followed the length measurements for the body under the arm. I followed the exact number of stitches to pick up for the V-neck and for the underarm here. And it has this cute, what is this? Your shoulder, back shoulder detail right here. I hope the camera can pick that up. You can maybe kind of see it there. And I think it is really cute. There is positive ease, and so there is lots of room for wearing shirts under it and for it to not be extra bunchy. And so I do enjoy that. And the V-neck shape is really nice. It's not really that, it looks kind of deep, but what I think it is kind of narrow. So, and I actually really, really enjoy that. So it's super nice. And I would be wearing this with a shirt under it anyway. So yeah, I really like it. Okay, my only thing is that I do want to make this vest again because I really, really like it. But one thing is that the armholes are kind of big. And now it's not necessarily too long, and maybe it's hard to see because I am wearing a black shirt under this. I don't feel like it's maybe a tad long. However, what it is it is kind of wide. Like, I feel like you can kind of see that. Like, it can open up kind of a lot width-wise here around my arm. So, like, maybe if I did not, next time I won't cast on too many stitches under the arm, and that'll kind of bring it in like this a little bit. And I feel like that might be a bit better, like, width-wise. Do you see what I mean? Like, it kind of can open up kind of just a lot in the front and back versus, like, on the bottom. So just maybe bring that in for the amount of stitches that are cast on under the arm. But, like, for me, it is a minor fit thing because, you know, I'm going to have my arms down anyway, and you're not really going to see that. Like, I would also prefer that than if something was way too tight around my arm. Like, that would just be super uncomfortable. This isn't uncomfortable, it's just a note. So, yeah. But size-wise, I would make the same size again. I really like it. I like the Suri combination. Oh, the other thing that I would maybe change for myself is that I probably wouldn't do a fingering held double plus Suri. I might also consider making this just in a DK weight, or like a fingering plus DK. The pattern does say worsted weight yarn, and I think maybe a single strand of worsted weight yarn would work, but I think fingering held double plus a Suri might be a little bit too bulky, and that is probably what contributed to my gauge issues. So I would either do worsted weight 1 strand by itself, a fingering plus Suri, or maybe a DK weight. DK weight might also work. Might end up a little bit smaller, or you would end up with just like maybe a flowier fabric. As long as it's not a light DK, maybe like a more hefty DK weight yarn. But I do really want to make more vests of this specific one, and so yeah, because I think that this is like the perfect V-neck vest. There is also for this pattern a crew neck version, and actually I might also want to make that version as well because it's part of the same pattern. So if you're more into crew neck vests, there's also that option in this pattern, and I think it also looks really cute, and so I would also consider making that as well. So yeah, so that is the Avenue vest by Tori U, and keep an eye out for whenever that pattern releases. I do think it'll be in December, so it should be pretty soon, I think. Okay, next up, I have 2 finished objects. I jumped ahead and I was looking at my whips. Okay, I have 2 finished objects. One is as predicted. I finished my Oxbow socks. These are by Andrea Mowry, and it was part of her her knit along over the Thanksgiving break, and I finished it in time. I posted my picture on Ravelry. I did not win. She had some prizes for 1st and 2nd place, but it's okay because I had fun knitting these socks. I am happy. The timeline, it's pretty short. Like, it really is a challenge to get these done, especially if you're busy doing other things, which most people are during Thanksgiving weekend. But I got these done just in time, and it really, at least for me, the deadline helped me to just like get these socks on and off my needles really fast and to feel accomplished with finishing some socks, because I don't even remember the last time I've knit socks this year. It might have been like during the summer was the last time I knit socks, and this reminded me how much I love knitting socks. Well, when I'm knitting socks and when they're done, I'm like, wow, I love that. I should do it more. And then I just like, takes me a long time to cast them on. So I really do enjoy knitting socks. What I love more than knitting socks is wearing knitted socks. I love wearing knitted socks. I wear my knitted socks basically every single day. So yeah, just adding more to my sock collection is really nice. And yeah, I am still, even though I've made a lot of knitted socks, I am still figuring out what my favorite, like, I don't have like I feel like every time I make a new pair of socks, I learn something more about what I like in a knitted sock for myself, if that makes sense. So, and also as far as like fit, yarn, like sizing, I don't count rows when I knit the foot of my sock, which maybe I should. I just do it by length, and I kind of guess. Sometimes my socks are too long, which is usually the case. In only maybe 2 of my socks, they're a little too short, but they're wearable, you know? So these ones, though, I think fit really great. I'm just worried when I block them, they might get a little big, but they are very snug on me, and I'm happy with the fit on these so far. I have not blocked them yet, so that's probably why they look a little tight, and not all, you know, I don't know. They just look maybe unblocked, but I was planning to block them earlier this week because I finished it on Sunday night, and I just never got to block them. But here they are, both pairs as proof. I love the stitch pattern on this. It only involves knits and purls, so you don't have to be worried about that if, you know, because it does look like, ooh, what is that stitch pattern? But it's just knits and purls. I really like that it goes into the back of the heel here. That's fun, and it just makes me happy with that detail. Maybe like put my hand in so you can see that heel. It is worked cuff down. I don't have really a preference. I don't have strong preferences for cuff down or toe up. Although if I had to choose, I'd probably say toe up. But a lot of the socks I've made are cuff down. So this was a familiar construction to me to work on. The leg part of the sock is shorter than what I usually knit. I usually just knit whatever length the pattern says. I don't really think about it too much, but I will say that, and I knit this 2 pattern, like whatever length it said, whatever stitch count for the size 3. I made size 3, and I used US 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter needles. And yeah, so at least for this leg part, I knit to the size. Foot part always varies depending on your actual foot size, but yeah, I've knit everything to pattern. Worked out great. This is I used Sewrella yarn Classic Sport. So I use a sport weight yarn for this in the colorway Brick, which was some leftover yarn from a project, and so it made me really happy to use up some leftover yarn for this. This is my first sport weight sock. I've made fingering weight and I've made DK weight, but this is my first sport weight sock. The pattern does specifically have sport weight instructions and also fingering weight instructions, and so I will, whenever I decide to make these socks again, I want to make some in fingering weight as well to see how it differs, but I really like the sport weight version. It is the perfect in-between fingering and DK, because sometimes fingering weight socks can feel kind of thin. Could be how I knit them, could be that mine are just worn out now, but they do sometimes feel thin. And DK weight socks are also nice, but they're definitely like pretty thick. Like they're almost like house slippery type, at least feeling to me. But these feel just like sturdy, like what I would want my fingering weight socks to feel like. So it could be the stitch pattern as well. Like maybe it just adds that extra, because there's alternating between knits and pearls, and the pearls kind of have that, you know, bump texture, and so maybe that's what's kind of adding to that feel as well. And so that's why I do want to make these in fingering weight to see how different it feels. But I love these socks. I love the color of them. I want to make more socks now. I do have like 2 more socks planned for December this year, and so we'll see how far I get on those. But overall, very happy with these socks. Okay, and then, oh my gosh, I have a big finished object. Let me grab it carefully so I don't knock anything over. I have finished my Culmination blanket. Wow. Okay, I washed and blocked all of my squares by Monday, because the plan was for me to go to knit night on Monday, and for me, Megan, and Katie to lay out our squares and to do some like color arranging of our squares for the blanket. However, and I guess I'll just talk about it now because it's part of this story for the blanket and that rearranging time. I did not go to knit night on Monday because I took a nasty fall during ice skating practice on Monday morning. I fell on both of my knees, and they really, really hurt. It was sore to walk, and the bruises started forming like that day. Like, it was pretty bad. And usually I think that it is kind of like well known and maybe kind of joked around, like, you know, figure skaters' knees are always bruised because, you know, you fall quite a lot. I, however, don't fall that much. And that's not something that I'm super proud of, because that means that I don't really try that hard, you know, or like get out of my comfort zone to try new things when I'm skating because I'm scared of falling. So there is that. But there has only been, and I've gotten bruises on my knees. I've fallen on my knees a few times, sometimes before. However, this is, I would say, possibly the worst bruises I've gotten on my knees since I started skating. There was one other time that I fell and bruised only one of my knees, like pretty bad, and it hurt pretty bad. But I think this one is worse because it's both of my knees. And to explain what happened, there was just, sometimes on the ice, there's just these bumps that form, and they're not smooth bumps. This one was like, it looked like a tower. Like, it was like the ice, and then this growth that came out of the ice. Like, it's just a tower of ice. It was like circular, like, it looked like just a cylindrical column that popped out of the ice. And it was like this wide. The cylindrical ice that came poking out of the ice. It was by the corner. I don't know how no one saw it or skated over it before I got on the ice. And I skated right into it, and I didn't even know that I skated into something until I skated by that area again and saw it. And what you're supposed to do if you see that, because it's very dangerous, you're supposed to scrape it off the ice and then like chop it up into pieces so that no one trips on it, because wow, like it just stops you in your tracks. And so I was literally doing nothing. I was doing no tricks. I was just skating on 2 feet going forward, and then I tripped on it. And because something blocks you, you just fall kind of like, I just fell like flat straight onto both of my knees and then fell forwards, and then I slid into the side of the rink. I was very embarrassed when it happened because I thought I just tripped over my toe picks. And I was like, wow, I was literally doing nothing and I tripped over my toe picks. But I did trip over a piece of ice. And okay, I might be sounding very dramatic about it. My coach was like, just let it go. But it's been almost a week because this happened on Monday and it's now Saturday. My knees are still sore. The bruises are now turning yellow, which I think is good. Is it healing now? I feel like I read that before somewhere. But they were very sore. They hurt to stand the next day. Anyway, so I'm going to stop talking about it now. But it happened on Monday morning, and so I was like, I just can't go to knit night because it hurts to walk. So that was a long story of saying I didn't go to knit night. I couldn't do my blanket rearranging, but I did do it at home, and we did send pictures to each other of our blanket squares, and I did video call them really quick just to say I missed them at knit night, and just to say hi really quick. So anyway, so I did that, and then I was like, since they're taking up a lot of space and I don't want to forget what order I had them in, I crocheted them all together this week. I couldn't do it all in one sitting. It took me a long time to do it. It took me way longer than I thought it would to crochet all of them together. But I've talked a very long time now without showing you any knitted thing. So let me hold it up and continue talking about it. Here it is. Ooh, how am I going to show? I didn't even think about how I'm going to show this entire blanket. Maybe just like slowly, I will just have to bring it up to the side. Actually, do I have to go all the way back here and like move my chair? I did not think this through, obviously. It is huge. And it's a heavy blanket. Like, it is really heavy. Pulling that up there. Okay. And so I did 5 by 6, which I think is in the pattern. Obviously, you can rearrange it in however many squares by squares you want. But here it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me sit back down now. But okay, so that is my Culmination blanket. Oh, before I get into it again, it is a pattern by Lindsey Fowler. This is for their Culmination blanket knit along, which is, the goal is to finish by the end of the year, and now I'm done. And so I have done that. I just need to take finished object pictures, which I have not been good with at all for like this entire year. But as far as the yarn I use for this, it is all scrap yarn, all leftover yarn in my stash, and so I got a lot of that into this blanket. It makes me feel really good about that, and because all of that yarn is so nice and so pretty, and so to have it in a really nice blanket all together in one is super nice. I didn't use all of my leftover yarn, but I used a good bunch of it, and all of the squares have Suri in it, because once I felt a square with Suri and then I made one without one, I was like, I want all the squares to have Suri. So I'm really glad I got to use some smaller Suri leftovers and some like almost full skeins of some Suri to get these squares done. Really nice to use some of that up as well. Okay, what else? I used US 10 needles, 6.0 millimeter needles to knit this, so I did size down. I think in the pattern she does say US 11 is what she used. And my yarn weight was also a little bit smaller than her combination of yarn, but just by a little bit. So most of these were like 4 fingering weight plus a Suri was kind of a lot of these. Some of it was 2 DK plus a Suri. Some was 2 fingering, 1 DK and a Suri. But all around the similar kind of weight, because I have a lot of fingering weight yarn in my stash. And so, yeah. Okay. I feel like I had something else to say about this. Oh, okay. The yarn I used to connect all of this, I was like, yeah, I have a whole bunch of this like white colored yarn. I think it was an undyed yarn. And also left over from a project. And so I was like, wow, how nice and handy. And then it like it used a lot more of that yarn than I thought, and I was like, ooh, good thing. You can maybe see, I'll show just like a cross section here. So I just used a white yarn. You can see it between the colors there. It is a worsted weight. I believe that it is a Cascade 220 worsted weight. I used part of it in my Lighthouse Keeper. Is that what it's called? Pullover. I kind of gasped in between saying that because I realized that is also a Lindsey Fowler pattern, which is also from the book that this this blanket is in. So I was like, oh, I was thinking like how fitting that kind of all worked out, because that was not planned that way. Yeah, this blanket pattern is in her Salt and Timber book, but it's also now or available as from the beginning of the knit along as a standalone pattern as well. But I do have the book, and so it was kind of nice to use a pattern from a book I have. What else? Oh, okay. I did connect the squares in the way that the book says to do it, and so I did all of the horizontal connections first. And so if I'm holding up the blanket this way, and I also made sure I wanted all the squares to be facing the same way in terms of like, you know, where the diagonals are. So I wanted them to all face the same way, and then I crocheted together all of the horizontals this way first, and then I went back and then I did all of the verticals next to each other. So, okay, I did have some trouble connecting these squares because I don't know if I have ever connected two pieces of a thing, either knitted or crocheted, by doing a crochet chain through them. And as far as my placement on, like, this is my thing about crochet that always gets me confused, is where do I insert my crochet hook into? And not only where, but like front to back or back to front. And this is probably something that is intuitive for people who crochet, but for me it wasn't. And so the amount of times, which squares were they? The amount of times that I think it was these two squares, and this was probably my first connection potentially, or actually was it? No, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was. These two squares, this piece right here. The amount of times that I've connected them and unraveled it, I think was like 5 times, because I didn't like how it looked. And then I learned, or well, I didn't learn. It was just, for me, it was trial and error. Would it have taken me a short amount of time to just look it up? Probably. But I was too lazy, and so I took even more time to just trial and error it out. And who knows, maybe the way I ended up doing it was actually incorrect as well. But I like the look of it more than what I was doing before. Okay. I feel like I was talking really fast because I got very excited. Okay. The way that it worked for me, as far as like where to crochet your hook into, is that one of these squares, and to, I guess to make it even across, always have like the, I guess it depends where you're working, but if I'm holding it like this, right, I'm pretty sure I had my, oh no, I must have been, it couldn't have been this one. What square was it that I worked on first? Maybe it was this one? Anyway, I always had this square, whatever square I'm working on the right side, is overlapped onto the left. And so if I move to the next row, like this purpley pink one is on top over the gray one. And by on top is just like visually what I did was, so if I have my two squares and one of them was just like a little over on top, when I inserted my crochet hook, I did it just straight down from top to bottom if they were overlapped like this. Now, I didn't actually do that to try, I didn't actually overlap them and then put my crochet hook in. But what I did was I would put my crochet hook top down first into like right side into the wrong side, into the one that's on top first, and then top down into the second one. And then I did my chain. And then same thing, and making sure that it's all through like that same row of knit stitches. I have found that, and again, this is probably not the correct way to do it, but I like the look of the inserting the crochet hook through just like one strand for the top square, one strand, and then on the bottom square through 2 strands. I felt like it just looked better. I tried doing 2 and 2 strands, and it just looked kind of bulky. So, but everyone has their own preference. So that's what I did for all of them, and that took me like 5 tries to do that. And then actually for the vertical crocheting together, I did a similar thing of, let me try to find a vertical side here. So the ones here where I'm actually joining them on like the selvaged or the slip stitches on the sides of the the squares, I did a same thing of like one of them is overlapped over the other, and then I insert my crochet hook top down and then top down into them. But for this one, I did do like 2 strands and then 2 strands, which was basically just the slip stitches. Like if you were picking up stitches on edge selvaged or slip stitches, the V that it makes at the edge, I would just insert into those like 2, it's 1 stitch, but you're kind of picked up. There's like 2 strands. I hope that makes sense. But that is what I did with my crochet hook. And then I did, the crochet chain through those. So yeah, that also took me some trial and error. That is probably what contributed to what took me a bit to connect all of these squares. I want to say it took me maybe the course of like 4 days of separate time. I didn't work on it all the time through all 4 days, but just like across 4 different days, with some, just some of the time through the 4 days. I got them all connected. Okay, what did surprise me was how heavy this blanket is. It is hefty. It is not something you can, well, when I was connecting them, when all the horizontal connections were made, I was scared to hold it up because I was worried that the yarn was going to snap. Like my connecting yarn was going to snap at like the corners. Like I was worried, like it was really heavy, and so I had to lay it down and make sure there was nothing like hanging while I was working on this blanket. Even now that it's all connected, like just holding it up by one side and letting it hang, it's like so hefty. I kind of can't imagine, and I'm pretty sure like a slightly lighter weight than the pattern, because I think the pattern is like, if I wanted to reach that gauge, maybe like 1 more strand of fingering to each of these, like it would be so hefty. But also maybe it's the Suri, like maybe the Suri makes it extra heavy. So maybe I'd be curious to feel Megan and Katie's blankets, because I don't think they use Suri in theirs. I don't think so. So I'm curious to see how theirs feels compared to mine, but it is a hefty blanket. It is very warm, so that is a plus. Even with the holes in them, the eyelets, it's a very warm blanket, so that is a plus. But yeah, I actually wasn't expecting it to be as heavy as it is. Compared to my Sweet Shop blanket, which is DK weight yarn, my Sweet Shop blanket might not be as big as this, so that's probably what's contributing to it, but it does not feel as heavy. Like this just feels like it's got so much weight. Like I'm scared of breaking it, from all of the weight. But I love it, and I am going to be using it a lot. I've already been using it a lot since I finished it. So it is a great blanket, and I love it. I love that it used not all of my scrap yarn, but it is all made up of my scrap yarn. And I feel really accomplished with that. And so it feels really good to get that done. Okay, that's all I have for my finished objects, and moving on to my whips now. I actually only worked on 3 things. Well, I guess 3 things that I didn't finish this week, because I did work on the blanket and the socks this week as well. So I guess I worked on 5 things this week, but 3 things I worked on minus the finished objects. Let's start with this one. This is the Reverb wrap by Alexi, Tavel, or 2 of Wands. And I made good progress on this again this week. I have finally reached the green color on this shawl. So really quickly first, this is the Reverb wrap by Alexi, Tavel, and The yarn I am using, all of it is Woolberry, Berry DK, in the colorways Flock, which is the more white-ish cream. I guess it's kind of like a tan-ish colored. It's a variegated yarn. Actually, let me just hold up the skein. So this is Flock. And then Heirloom is the red that you see here. And then I finally added on the green color. Let me hold this up. This is We Got There in the End, which feels very fitting to finish this shawl with and this year with, because I had goals to finish all of my Woolberry Rewind yarn from last year, and this is the last of it. This green is not a Woolberry Rewind yarn, but I thought it'd be a good addition for the shawl because I needed more yarn. I finished, where's my stitch marker? Okay, this is where I was last week, and so I've got a good amount of rows in. I'm still increasing. This is a triangle shawl that just increases on one side, like every other row. It is a one size pattern, but you can make it any size you want, use any kind of yarn weight you want, because it really is just an increasing triangle. And I'm using US 8 needles, which is 5.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And I finished 2 skeins, the first 2 skeins. Where is the red? Okay, I finished them pretty close to each other, and so each of these, so there is like this wavy, it looks like a small bobble wave. It's a slip stitch, kind of, oh, I love how it looks. Stitch pattern on top, plus kind of like that background color here. And they use about the same amount of yarn, because if I flip it to the back, and I think the back of this stitch pattern also looks very cool. Where'd it go? Okay, I finished my Flock colorway right about here, which is right before I switched to the green. And the red colorway, I think, lasted just like a tad longer, potentially. Yeah, right. I switched the red with the green, so it lasted maybe like 1 repeat longer than the Flock colorway. And so 1 skein of each color, so 2 full skeins of DK weight got me from the start down here all the way till the green started. And so now I have 1 more full skein of Flock and 1 full skein of the green, and then we'll see how long that takes me, and then that's all the yarn I have. So the plan is to use 4 skeins of DK weight yarn for this shawl. I love how this is turning out. I am so happy. I really like that kind of like the beginning tip of this is mostly like the red is what I use as like that color for that bobbly stitch pattern, and then I switched it so that Flock is in the front, because I think for the stitch pattern, me personally, I like having that lighter color over the darker color. I think it just makes that stitch pattern stand out more, and you can actually kind of see what's happening. And so I am keeping Flock on the front, even though I switched to the green. I have considered doing like a little section of the green on top first here, so that it maybe alternates the red, and then the Flock, and then green, and then Flock. But I really like how it looks with Flock on top. And I think the red triangle is big enough for it to kind of just look like it's like an accent tip part of the shawl. And, you know, the longer the rows get, the shorter the length gets when you knit with the same amount of yarn. So it's not like I'm not going to get, this same amount of length for my next half. Like, it's going to be a lot shorter. And so I was like, I'd rather have it be just with the green in the background. And I do love working on this because it's quite fun. DK weight works out pretty quickly, and it is also red and green, and so I feel like it's very Christmassy, and I very much enjoy that. So I'm going to say it's my Christmas shawl. We'll see if I finish it before Christmas. I would love to finish it before the end of the year. But I think that that's pretty good progress for 1 week so far. But now I am officially over halfway done with the shawl because I'm onto my last 2 skeins from the first 2. I finished the first 2, I'm into my last 2, and so I'm over halfway done. And so I'm hoping I can pick up the pace a little more, but that is kind of the reason why I worked on it a lot more this week versus some of my other projects, because I was like, ooh, would love to finish this year. Love to finish it before Christmas. And it's already December 7th. I just, whoa. Where's the time going? Okay, speaking of wanting to spend more time on some projects, my other shawl project is the Hip Stripes Shawl by Locatelli. I've also put in some time into this week because I didn't want to forget about it, and it's also a goal of mine to finish this by the end of the year because of my Woolberry Rewind goal. So let me show you. These rows are very long. This is my stitch marker from last time. You can see here. So I've worked a bit. Here it is. It doesn't look as long because it's squished up on my needles right now. But this is a crescent-shaped asymmetrical shawl. I love the asymmetrical look of this, and I think it'll be more apparent once I'm actually able to like lay it all out once it's on my needles. But I do want to show you, like, I'll hold it like this. This was the starting point right here, and this first garter stitch section was worked evenly with increases on both sides. And then you can see from where my needle is, this is on one side, not that many garter stitch rows in between, like these X Suri rows here, versus this side, right? It's a lot longer than the other side, and there's a lot more space in between these Suri X crossing rows than this side. Yeah, so I think it's very cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, I thought that I just like dropped them all and then they all came off my needle. That scared me. Okay. I love working on this because it is just garter stitch. You're switching every 2 rows with your yarn, but because it's every 2 rows, you don't have to like cut your yarn. You just like hold it, or you you carry it up the side, which is really nice. I am using 2 different Woolberry yarns. One is Berry Suri. So the Suri is Berry Suri from Woolberry, the new one with 400 something yards per 50 gram skein, in the colorway Flower Crown. Let me hold that up so you can see the skein here. It is a variegated colorway, really soft variegated colorway. And then the other yarn is Berry Natural, which is a fingering weight, in the colorway Bouquet. Really nice pastel pink, and then I'm just, alternating that. It is low contrast, but I love it, and it's just going to be just like extra soft and fluffy. Also because Berry Natural is also very soft. So yeah, having that alternating with Suri, extra soft. What else do I have to say about this? It is a one-size shawl. I am using US 4 needles to knit this, which is 3.5 millimeter needles. And I did size down my needles because I was too lazy to find or to like replace one of my other projects that were using a US 5 needle to knit this. And I was like, it's a shawl, and so sizing doesn't really matter too much for me. And so I'm just, that is the reason why I'm using US 4. Otherwise I would have used the recommended needle size. But yeah, that's kind of it. I've just been working on it. What's really nice is I don't need the instructions very often. I just need it when I'm doing kind of like the rows around this X crossing row for the Suri. And then after that, like once you know the pattern of doing the short rows, you kind of just like don't need to look at it. And because these rows are now super long and doing the short rows feels like it takes forever, in a way that's kind of good, because then that's a lot of knitting time that I don't have to look at the instructions. So that has been really nice. I am hoping to finish up. You can maybe kind of see where I am with my short rows right here. I need to reach towards the end here, and I am right about here. And so I am really close to finishing like this wedge section, I think is what she calls it. So we'll see. I might either need one more like X row plus garter stitch and then the border, or maybe it's just an X row and then the border. I'm not sure. I kind of don't want to, part of me doesn't want to look because then I'm going to know, but maybe I should know. I mean, I should know. I need to look at it eventually, but it has been, been interesting. Interesting time working on this. I mean, it's been great. It's just the rows are getting really long. So, but yeah, I'm very much enjoying this. I like how the colors are turning out together and how the yarn is all feeling together. It's going to be a really nice, soft, and like drapey shawl, and I just love it. I'm so happy that these two shawls kind of like came out of inspiration, like out of nowhere for me, and they're like one of my favorite things to be knitting right now. So that's been super nice. Okay, and then, wow, is really everything I'm working on right now just like shawls / cowls, like neck accessories, perfect for the Cozy Comforts make-along that me and Bridget are hosting. Goes until the end of this year. I don't remember the last time I've mentioned it, but it's always, I have all the details and description of our make-along in the description down below at the bottom. But wow, I can't believe it is nearing the end of it. There's still lots of time, I feel like, to knit something. Like if it's a small cowl, lots of time to knit something. But if you haven't heard me talk about it before, the Cozy Comforts Make-Along is hosted by me and my friend Bridget, and the whole focus around it is to knit neck accessories. So again, like shawls and cowls or scarves. And the focus is on encouraging you to use your hand spun if you do spin, but if not, you can knit something that is not using hand spun. And yeah, we have a hashtag on Instagram, so post your pictures there. And I've been loving seeing everyone's makes. It all looks so cozy, and shawls and cowls are like my new favorite thing over the past. I feel like shawls were maybe a last year plus this year thing that I love shawls, and then cowls were, maybe I made my first one last year and I was like, whoa, how have I not knit a cowl before, because I love them. So yeah, definitely check it out. There's still, at this point, I think still time to knit a little small something if you want. Okay, speaking of neck accessories and cowls slash shawls. Ooh, that was kind of hard to say. Here's my next work in progress. This is a test knit for Bridget. This is the Winter Weave Cowl, and I love working on this. So I didn't work on it as much as I wanted to this week, but I made more progress. So let me just show you. Also, I put on some stitch markers from Amy Scher's store that I got earlier this year. And I thought they just looked so cute on this yarn color and stuff. So this is like the teacup with, and I chose the one that has like the blue flowers on the cup. Might be too small to see it on there on the camera, but there's blue flowers on the cup. And I was like, wow, it matches this colorway, and then also some tea leaves here. I thought it just looks extra cute on this pattern, so I had to put them on this. And so I did work more of the stitch repeat than I did the week before. And now you can actually see like that basket weave texture going on. So it's like alternating stockinette and garter stitch. And so it does kind of look, yeah, like a basket weave type of texture. And I am really, really enjoying it. The yarn I am using for this is Little Fiber Co. Falkland DK. It's one of her new bases. in the colorway Oyster, and we were able to purchase this yarn special for this test knit from Little Fiber Co. And so I'm really happy to have been able to purchase this yarn for this test knit because Bridget is working with her for this design of hers. Bridget made one of her samples in this base as well, and so it was really nice. What else do I have to say? Oh, I am knitting size 2. There are 2 sizes for this pattern. I'm knitting size 2 because it is going to be like a neck. I'm working it in the round, and so this part is going to go around your neck. And what I probably will do, and I've seen in Bridget's pictures that it also says in the pattern, like you can fold down, it's kind of hard to do this. Like you can fold this neck part down because it can be kind of long depending on how tall you want it to go on your neck. And then I am like really close, I think, to starting the increases where it will kind of be like a circular yoke and then go like around like this, around your shoulders. So it's going to be super warm and cozy. And what was I saying? Oh, I'm knitting size 2 because I don't like anything really, really tight around my neck. So I wanted to make sure that there was a lot of room for it to just kind of like, just have a lot of room. So that's why I'm knitting size 2. I'm using US 6 needles or 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And I am right on gauge. And so that's super, super nice. Always nice when you're on gauge for a test knit. And I think that's it. I can hold up this yarn. I'm still on my first skein of yarn. So yeah, I love this color. I'm excited to have this color in my wardrobe. I don't think I have anything really in this color knitted, so it's going to be really nice. I am loving it, and I kind of want more of it. I am still loving this yarn. I love knitting with it, and it really is going to be such a nice soft, bouncy texture in like a knitted object. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this like finishes up, like once it's done, washed and blocked, and just like how it looks, because I think it's going to be really great because it's already feeling really great. So definitely this base is something I'm going to want also in a sweater quantity eventually. But yeah, I'm just super, super excited about this. I love it. It is a non-superwash base. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but Little Fiber Co., I think after she rebranded to Little Fiber Co., all of her bases are non-superwash, and I know that some people might be a little, I don't know if scared is the right word, but like kind of just worried or maybe kind of anxious that non-superwash means itchy or like rustic. And sometimes that is the case, but there is a lot of really soft non-superwash yarn. It's so fun to knit with yarn fibers that are not merino too, like to just try that out. And honestly, some of the non-superwash yarns that I've tried, I feel like are even softer than some superwash merino. I'm just gonna put that out there. So this is one of those yarns that it is incredible to squish and touch and feel, and it just has this extra squish and bounce. I feel like I've said those words already, but like really does have this nice airy texture to it that I just like feel is going to be really warm to wear in like the best way possible, you know? So yeah. I love working on this, and so I'm hoping to get more work on this as well. The test knit is not due until January, so if I can't get it done by the end of the year, I'm not concerned. So as far as priority goes, I really want the 2 shawls I talked about to be done by the end of this year. So I will probably make the most progress on those, but if I get, like tired of switching between those 2, I really want to work on like my Bouquet knit that I have on my needles. I still have my birch. I haven't worked on my birch in a couple weeks now, but I really miss working on that, and I want to do that. But I have some goals and timelines for the end of this year. So yeah. Speaking of goals and timelines, not only do I want to finish some knits, but there's also more knits that I want to cast on before the end of this year. So let me talk about those as well. Well, it's really just one that I want to share with you all because I wound up some yarn for it, and I plan to cast this on Monday because I do plan to go to knit night on Monday. Me and Megan want to cast on another Doppio sweater before the end of the year. And for me, in my head, I thought casting on a Doppio towards the end of the year would be really nice because it does use a lot of yarn and it knits up pretty quickly for a sweater. And I was like, it would be a great way to also like get that last bit of yardage used for the year for my goal, because I, again, have a goal to be stash negative this year. But it's so close to the end of the year because we were supposed to cast this on last Monday, but I couldn't go to knit night, as I told you all. So this Monday will be the day to cast on. I'm holding up the yarn that I plan to use. This is going to be very different, I feel like, color-wise from what I usually knit with. And I did want it to be different from my first Doppio, which is like light pink, as you could probably predict. But this one is going to be like green, yellow greenish. And I think I forgot to mention Doppio sweater is by Seunghee Hong, and I love that sweater. I love it so much that I want a second one, and I probably want a third one at some point. So yeah, I just love that sweater. Okay, yarn. Let's talk about yarn. These two are the same colorway, just different bases. These are both from Big Little Yarn Co. And this one, I have I'm going to use, I'm pretty sure, like 2 skeins of each of these yarn skeins that I'm holding up. Both of these, the colorway is Futakuchi Onna. I think that this was in her like Monsters collection or something, like I forget, but it was from some collection that I got yarn from. And this base is Trusty Sock. So this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply. So that's what that looks like. And then same colorway, but this one is in the Suri silk lace. So 75% baby Suri alpaca, 25% silk lace weight. And then I am going to hold it with a Paisley Knits Sailing Sport, which is her 100% baby alpaca yarn in the colorway Matcha. And I thought that not only are these colors like, they might be kind of weird. I mean, like, I think that this will look great together. I did not do like a swatch yet for color matching to make sure it looks okay, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. If not, I will make changes, but this is the plan. And I thought it's kind of cute because this is from Paisley Knits Japan collection, and Big Little Yarn Co. is based in Japan. And so I just feel like that's cute. I really like doing yarn pairings that kind of match a theme, you know? Like, even if it's not, I mean, color-wise, to me, match. They both have green, right? But, like, theme-wise, they kind of match. They have a Japan tie to both of them. So I really like that. One thing that is different for this time for my Doppio is that last time I did 2 fingering weight held with a Suri, and this time I'm doing a fingering weight plus a sport weight held with a Suri. And so it might be thicker. Probably would be a good idea for me to gauge swatch, but I will not gauge swatch. I think I will just cast on and see how it goes. Because I feel like I made it before, and even if I'm using a different yarn combination, I think it'll be fine. I don't know. I think it'll be fine. I also only have 2 skeins of the sport weight, and I think it'll be fine. I didn't even check yardage. I was just like, should be fine. I should probably check yardage though, right? I should check yardage. I already wound up my skeins though, but I guess it's okay. I'm gonna have to check yardage. But I hope it works out because I really like this idea. Okay. Well, now I'm a little worried, but it's okay. I'll figure it out before the end of today. So, but that is my future plan for this. And I will be making the same size as my first doppio. I just won't be changing anything, I think, about how I approach it and make it besides the yarn specifically that I'm using. Actually, I know the one change I will probably make is I won't make, if you've made it before, you'll know that they're under the arm, on the sleeve, and also on the sides of the body, there's this extra like pearl row or like column is the right word, a pearl column that goes down the sides and under the arms of both sleeves that you can make. It's optional, but you can make that so that at the end, if you want to reinforce your seams so that it doesn't grow too much after wear and washing and blocking, too many times or whatever, that you can then like mattress stitch over that like pearl bump so that it's just like nice and clean. So I made the pearl column for my first sweater, but I was too lazy to go back and do that sew together of the seam, and I will not go back. I'm fine wearing it the way it is, but I think this time I will just eliminate that and not even create that pearl column in the first place. So I think that's kind of really the only construction change that I will make, and I'll just do everything else the way that I did it the first time pretty much. Okay, so that is the one future plan thing that I wanted to talk about. Spinning update, not really that much spinning updates. I don't know if you can see it, my wheel is right behind me right here. I spun a little bit, but I didn't finish it. I was hoping to finish my singles at least this past week, but I just didn't get to it. I was more into the knitting this week and like crocheting together my blanket, so not much spinning, but can I hold it up? Can you see it? I have this much left of my second to last ball of fiber, and then I have one more little ball of fiber to go through. So I'm close. Maybe this week. It's gotta be before Christmas though. I need to finish this thing before Christmas. It's been fun to spin. I don't want to make it seem like it's not fun to spin. It's fun to spin, but I have just really been into my knitting lately. But just to remind you all, the fiber I'm using for this is from Created by LCB. It is in the Polworth and Mulberry Silk base, which I am loving spinning with. And the colorway is Vintage Christmas. And so it's been really great. It's been taking me a long time. Part of it is, I think, because I am planning on doing a chain ply, which is like a 3-ply, but I want it to be fingering weight. And so that means my singles need to be really thin. And so that means there's a lot more spinning to do. So that is why it's kind of taking me a long time. Okay, I have one actual acquisition to talk about, and then let's get right into the Nest Holiday Advent Fiber Holiday Advent. But the acquisition I have is also from Nest Fiber. So just today I got in the mail the November Nest Fiber Club fiber. So I hope I just didn't spoil it for anyone who's waiting for theirs. So warning if you didn't get yours yet, although I feel bad now. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever really gave any warnings for these monthly club fiber colorways. But here's your warning because I just got mine in the mail today. I think it's because I usually get it like after I film, and so it has like a whole week. But anyway, I hope I didn't spoil anything. This is in a new fiber base. I've just never heard of this fiber base or have spun with it. So this is Punta Wool in the colorway Garland. It is a very happy, kind of like bright. It's bright, but not like too bright colors. It's just very happy colors. And yeah, this base, Punta Wool, I've just never spun with it before. And so I'm really excited to spin with it. I am like pretty sure that out of all of the fiber bases I've gotten from Nest so far, after being a part of her fiber club, monthly fiber club for over a year now, I've never gotten this base before, I don't think. So that's really exciting. Yeah, so that's that really quickly for November. Okay, let's get into the holiday advent from Nest Fiber. This is my first fiber advent, and I got the holiday box where it alternates between tonals and variegated, I guess, fiber. So I do get 24 little, I think they're 1 ounce things of fiber every single day up till Christmas. And it is December 7th today, and so I have opened 1 through 7, and I will show them to you all now. If you don't want to see them, then skip ahead. I think that this might be the last thing I talk about for the video, so if you don't want to look at the holiday advent, thanks for watching. But if you do want to see the advent, let's get started. Okay, I've kind of like lightly wrap them back up in the packaging because I don't know yet how I'm going to store these before I spin them, because I do want to keep track of like what day it was, just for just for planning purposes. Or like, I don't know if I will want to do like spin day 1 first and do it in order, something like that. But I do want to show you like each of the kind of bags of fiber has this little like card on it, picture card on it, and they're all different but all like same color theme. So let me just like hold up like 1 and 2 so you can see what I mean. Like they're all like a similar color scheme, just like different pictures, which I think is really cute. And I am in love with the color scheme for these pictures. I don't know if all of the colors are supposed to be like in this color theme from the pictures. I'm gonna say probably not, but just these pictures in themselves make me very happy, and I love it. Okay, let me open number 1 for you all. I also forgot that not only are these all like different colors, but they're also different bases. I don't know, there's probably repeat of bases, because I think that'd be crazy to have 24 different kinds of bases, but maybe not crazy. I don't know. Again, this is my first fiber advent, and so I had no idea what to expect, color-wise, theme-wise, or whatever, but I'm loving it. Okay, so this is the first bundle. This is Falkland wool, and it is this like orangey red color, and so this is one of the tonal colors. And yeah, I kind of want to keep it as like compact in how it was wrapped so that it's easier for me to wrap later. But this is day number 1, Falkland, so that's really cute. The way that she had the she just like stuck the label into the middle of the fiber, and I'm gonna just roll that up again. Might be kind of crinkly, maybe I'll just do that later. Okay, and then day 2, I guess we'll kind of go through these really quickly. This is day 2. Actually, also some of these, I think maybe every other one comes with a little trinket on top of it. So some of it is like something I could probably use as an ornament, like a little wooden tree. Some had like a little glass bottle or maybe plastic bottle with like a pink tree inside, and some had like a bell on top of it. And it's so cute. It's just so cute. Okay, this is day number 2. This is a variegated. I love this one. This is Polworth, and I love Polworth also. So that's this one. It's blue, pink, and I guess I can kind of unravel it. Is that brown or orange? Kind of like a burnt orange. Really like this. I feel like this is kind of matching. Oh, where's the picture? It matches the color scheme on the pictures, and so that was really cool to see. I feel like the first day I was like, oh, that does not match the pictures, so I'm probably not getting colors that match the pictures, but this one I feel like really matches the color scheme in the pictures. Okay, so that's 2. Here's number 3. So it just switches back and forth between tonals and variegated. This one has a picture of a little deer on there. Is that the first one also? I think they're all different. Like some have deer, but then they're like in different places on the on the picture. It's so cute. Okay, this is day 3. This one was like extra poofy because this is Cormo. I also really like Cormo as a fiber, and I love this color. It's like a corally pink color. Very me. Kind of feels, it's kind of like the grapefruit color I'm wearing, kind of. But yeah, I love that. And this one's poofy. Like, you can kind of tell it's a bit more round than the other ones. So this one was kind of harder to roll up again, but it's fine. Okay. Let's open number 4. Oh, let me first show you this one has a bear on it. It's so cute. The bear is so cute. Okay. Number 4. This one, I feel like there was a similar color in one of the fiber monthly clubs. Like, it kind of reminds me of one of them. But this one didn't come with a tag in the middle of it. And so I don't know what fiber it is. But it feels very soft. So I feel like it could be like a merino or something. But yeah, love that. This one has a lot more like darker pinks in it with light blues and green. So it feels very like flowery to me. Okay. Next up is number 5. Here's the tag on number 5. Okay. Opening this up. Oh, yeah, I love this one. This is where's the tag on this? This is Rambouillet. Love Rambouillet. And this is like, it's like a pale pink color. And I love pale pinks. It's like that like gray pink, kind of like brown gray pink that I love. And so that's so pretty, and I'm really happy that that's in a Rambouillet base. Oh, yeah, it feels so nice and soft. Okay, and then number 6. So we're going back to a variegated color. This is number 6. What is that? Oh my gosh, there's like little fox. They look like little fox babies on the bottom there on the picture. Yay, the camera focused quickly enough. Okay. That's very cute. And then open this. Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't open 6 yesterday. I opened it today with number 7, and I was like, oh my gosh. This one I'm excited about. So this is a Targhee bamboo silk fiber. And look at those colors. These are like darker colors from some of the other, I feel like the first ones were kind of like pastel-y colors, and this one we're getting a little darker with some like purples. Still got pink in there. And then like this like green yellow down here, and then blue. Love that. But can you see, you can totally tell that there's like silk in here with that kind of like those shiny streaks throughout there. Oh yeah, you can see it like right here. So when I saw this, before I saw the tag, I was like, oh, is this silk? Because, well, the reason why I was so excited is because I am the Nest Fiber Club that I'm part of. There's like different base ones you can be a part of, and I think like the Super Wash Merino club is full or something, and so I couldn't join that. It was not an option. But there was a mixed fiber club that I could join, and then there's like a luxury fiber club, I think. So it's the same colorways every month, but dyed on different fiber bases. And so I'm in the mixed fiber, and so not the luxury fiber. And the luxury fiber ones do include, I think, fiber bases with silk in it, and so I never get ones with silk in it for the monthly clubs. And so I was like, oh, it's just really exciting. Anyway, oh, also because I just realized too that it says bamboo in here, and I've never spun something with bamboo fiber, so that'll be really exciting to try. And then number 7 is for today, and I opened it today. It's a tonal. Oh, this one was also really fun and exciting. So far there's been no repeats in fiber base, which is, I think, kind of crazy for having 7 so far, but I'm very happy about it. This is Merino and Silk Slubs. Okay, I need to hold it up for you, and I need the camera to focus so that you can actually see, because I was like, whoa. I was like, is this like tweed? Like, I feel like it kind of has like a tweedy texture across it. You can kind of just see like those darker spots, or like the little, kind of looks like, you know, like pilling. I mean, it looks kind of like tweed, but I guess they're silk slubs is what it says, which is so crazy. Really excited to try and spin with this. And this is kind of more of like a Barbie pink, I would say, kind of color. Not as bright, like it is a little bit lighter in some sections, but tone-wise, I feel like it's Barbie pink, kind of pink. So that's really fun. That was really exciting to open these. So days 6 and 7 surprised me with the fiber content. I mean, and the colors are also really fun and pretty. I'm glad that a lot of these have pink in it. Like, I kind of wasn't expecting it. Again, I didn't know what to expect. But I wasn't expecting mostly pink. Although, you know, a lot of her colorways for the monthly clubs also have pink in it. So maybe it's not as surprising as it should be. But I just wasn't sure where she was going to go with the holiday boxes. But I hope that was fun for you to watch, days 1 through 7. I am hoping and planning on continuing to show you, like, the next 7 days. So from 8 to 14, I guess, would it be for next week. Should be exciting. Are we going to see a repeat in a fiber base? And are the colors... Yeah, I'm just, like, so curious. And this is also making me think, like, I still don't know what I want to do with the fiber. I would like to spin them relatively soon. And if not soon, like, just sometime in the beginning half of next year, I would think. Just because it is a holiday advent, and so I'd want to spin it. It'd be kind of nice to spin it during, like, I guess it wouldn't be during the holiday time, because it would be after Christmas. And I don't know if I want to spin it right after Christmas. Although maybe I do. I just have to figure out what I want to do. But I'm going to wait until all of the colors are open, because maybe I want to do something with just all the tonals. Do I just all spin them so they're each individually mini skeins? That could be really cute, but what if I wanted to spin like 2 plies where like one is a variegated and one is tonal? That could be kind of fun as well. And then I'd get more yardage out of that color as well. Or like, you know, combining the two. So we'll see what I decide to do. Maybe mini skeins would be really cute. That'd be 24 mini skeins. But anyway, okay, that is all I have to share with you all today. I think, you know, I thought that it would be a lot shorter of an episode, because I only had 3 whips to talk about. But I did have my, one of my, you know, fiber advent I want to show you, and some of my finished objects took me longer to explain. My culmination blanket, but yeah, that is it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all had a great week. I hope you all have a great upcoming week, and yeah, let me know, as always, what you've been working on while you've been listening or watching this podcast, because I love to know. And I hope you all are having a relaxing end of the year. I hope it's not too stressful. I feel like end of year sometimes can feel really rushed and stressful, and so I hope you're all taking deep breaths, remembering to breathe, take some stretching breaks, relax, and I'll see you all in next week's video. Bye!